Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. And today is a tragic day. It's a day, and in fact, for the last couple of days, a truly important policy, which was especially crucial to the social determinants of health, has been reversed. And that policy is Roe versus Wade. And so for those of you that may not be familiar with this policy, this was what allowed women the choice to have an abortion. And of course, there were certain weeks of gestation, things like that made a difference in what type of abortion was allowed. But the fact of the matter is, this was the policy in the Constitution that allowed this choice, and the Supreme Court has decided that they will take this right away from women. And so this is a tragic day. So let me explain to you the history, because the whole story, understanding it actually provides you with a little bit more of an overview about everything. So Norma McCorvey, back in 1969, she was pregnant with her third child in Texas, and she said, I would like an abortion. She wanted to exercise the right to choose. According to Texas law, this was not something that was allowed. And so this was appealed, and then on January 22nd, of course, it's called Roe v. Wade, but the name that was involved was Norma McCorvey, and she was involved in January 22nd, 1973. This is when Roe v. Wade was enacted. And then the reversal took place in January 24th, 2022. So going back to kind of Norma McCorvey's predicament, she actually later on said that initially that the involvement in all of this was a big mistake. But then later on, actually, on her deathbed, said that she was paid in some places to say things, but she was for the choice to enact abortion, the right to choose. So that's a little bit of history, and this is Norma McCorvey. This is her picture, and this is from Creative Commons and Wikipedia. I wanted to kind of put in this part of the video a little bit about what this current reversal of Roe v. Wade actually means. So this actually came from a challenge, and this bans any abortions after 15 weeks. So this is a change because this is roughly 2 months earlier than what had been allowed under the Supreme Court precedent dating back to Roe. So abortions were allowed further, about 22, 23 weeks up to that, but now abortions are only allowed up to 15 weeks in certain states. So this allows for kind of more restriction in a lot of this. And the statement that came out and that really resonated with me with all of this is the fact that the worst racism issue in this country is going to be exacerbated by taking away abortion care. was stated by Nadia Hussein from New Jersey, and wanted to emphasize this statement. So, what are the negative social consequences? I mean, you might say that, okay, so this is going to increase the number of children that are born within the United States. In fact, statistics show that there will be 100,000 more children born each year with the reversal of Roe v. Wade. Now, I want to make one comment clear. This is not a complete overturning. This is a reversal to the point where states can kind of decide. So there are certain states that are actually ready already to take away this right to choose an abortion. So that is what is tragic. Now, if we had a complete overturning in all 50 states, that would be even worse because the choice would be completely taken away. So that's one point I wanted to make. But the next point is that abortions will not stop. Just because this policy is overturned, or Wade is overturned, that doesn't mean abortions will stop. Unsafe abortion practices will simply increase, harming more people. And who's going to be harmed? It's going to be the vulnerable populations. It's going to be people that don't have enough resources, enough money, black women and girls, people of color, minorities, and so this is the tragic consequence of overturning Roe v. Wade. But this has, until now, not really provided any sort of guidance. So, of course, women and girls will be hurt from this reversal, and some may even die within the U.S. From unsafe abortions, and a lot of these unsafe abortions take place and techniques, coat hanger techniques, and certain unsafe practices, which puts the mother's health at risk as well. So despite public support for abortions and overwhelming evidence that access to legal, safe abortion services saves lives, policymakers are opposed to provide this autonomy. And autonomy is a fundamental ethical principle. But policymakers, for some reason, are opposed to this autonomy and have actually pushed laws and regulations restricting or banning abortion. And so that risks the sexual and reproductive health of millions of people. So this forces people to carry an unwanted pregnancy to terms, putting more physical and mental burden and placing mothers at risk. As we all know, there are mental health sort of factors that people have to be worried about, especially once women give birth. And so a lot of times women experience the blues, depression after they have experienced pregnancy. So the mortality rate associated with childbirth in the United States is 14 times higher than that of legal induced abortion. Each year around 60,000 women in the United States experience severe maternal morbidity. And that's significant short or long-term health consequences from labor and delivery. And that rate is actually steadily increasing. So just looking at this, some of this was still written by a conglomeration of multiple public health organization. Columbia University was involved, Harvard, right before this policy got changed. So some of the contents in the slide reflect um, if this were to happen. So one thing that I wanted to show is overturning Roe v. Wade. So if it's completely overturned, then women, in fact, even will die from unsafe abortions. So, so the point is, legal abortion is safe. I mean, it's been proven to be safe. It's been proven to be effective. It's an essential component of healthcare. And in a comprehensive report from it, this is a reputable source, National Academy of Science, Engineering, and Medicine states that clinical evidence clearly shows that legal abortions within the United States, whether by medication, aspiration, dilatation, and evacuation, or induction, are safe and effective. So removing access, the final bullet point here, very important, listen to this. Removing access to legal abortion will set the U.S. even further back on maternal health outcomes and will exacerbate health disparities. So the reversal of Roe versus Wade, this has actually hurt social determinants of health. Our ability to implement social determinants of health, to try to get to the issues that matter the most within the community, that protects our vulnerable populations, that protects women and children, has been taken away by the reversal of this one policy. So there is something wrong with this picture, and we just need to be aware of all of these negative consequences. So the final three that I want to leave you with the reversal of Roe versus Wade is that reversing Roe v. Wade is just going to put women and girls experiencing physical and sexual violence at further risk. What I mean by this is simply this. Women who are denied abortions, they're more likely to have ongoing contact with a violent partner. Abuse can also increase a person's risk for an unintended pregnancy. Just as unintended pregnancy can put a person at greater risk of abuse. So all of these are interconnected. So we're putting a population at risk by reversing Roe versus Wade. We're unnecessarily doing this by reversing one policy, and a group of members in the Supreme Court have not looked at all of these facts. Around 1 in 4 women in the United States experience intimate partner violence in their lifetimes and some forms of this abuse, including sexual violence. So this places women at risk of unintended pregnancy. So denying any person an abortion, that keeps people in poverty. It makes them less likely to pursue higher education, puts their health at risk. So we have provided basically 3 out of 5 domains of the social determinants of health. And this is from one policy. So this is, and it continues because people living in states where abortion is likely to be highly restricted or banned, now that Roe v. Wade is overturned, now they'll face increased barriers to accessing time-sensitive abortion care. So having to travel longer miles, distance becomes a key determinant of abortion care access in the U.S. They might have to travel to a neighboring state where there's not as many restrictions. Abortion patients are in fact will have to travel across state lines. With one, and this is a statistic that has been generated, that 1 in 5 patients will actually have to travel over 50 miles in order to get proper care and a potential abortion facility. So listen, there's so many negative externalities of reversal of this policy that I actually do not understand why this was something that was reversed, and it's going to be increasing some of these traveling times, and really to the harm and to the detriment of public health. Since now Roe v. Wade has been overturned, many states will just criminalize it. Anybody who aids, accesses, or performs abortions, states will criminalize it. In fact, 18 states already have criminal laws that allow for prosecution of pregnant people or their healthcare providers. So these laws already have been in place, and now those laws will be implemented since this has been reversed by the Supreme Court. These laws will be enforceable. Criminalizing abortion will result in the use of increased police powers of investigation and surveillance and mass incarceration, just like we saw when for instance, marijuana was criminalized nationally, or many of these things cause increase in mass incarceration. And the burden will not be evenly shared. We know this already. This is a fact. People of color, Black Americans are incarcerated in state prisons at 5 times the rate of white Americans. And these facts are from Columbia University, Harvard University. This is a joint statement that was created and actually sent to the government. And so the point is, this will spill over into abortion-related prosecutions, and research shows that Black women are more likely to be arrested, reported to authorities, and subjected to felony charges related to pregnancies and pregnancy outcomes. So this will disproportionately affect populations that have been marginalized for a long time, and really deteriorate maternal health, maternal care, and also antenatal care and child care. For instance, distance might increase if women would want to desire an abortion. So this policy is not just a policy that has been reversed and will have no consequences. This is a policy that is directly connected to the social determinants of health, and it will most directly affect the historically marginalized populations of the United States. So I urge lawmakers to reconsider, and senators to reconsider, the national senators to take a look at this again and make modifications. Thank you for listening.